Hello, YouTube Pipers. I thought I'd drop in. This is Double O Pipe, aka Rick, and I'm going to smoke my Savinelli Clark's favorite. And I thought I'd try some Sutliff J4 Burley just to see if I can identify a taste. Smells pretty good. I reckon it's about time I started trying individual tobaccos just to see. What the individual tastes are like. Makes you wonder why we don't smoke it without burning it. Suck that air through that. That's different. I had a doctor's appointment this morning and went over there and filled out the forms. Sat in front of the doctor and she listened to me breathe. Asked if I smoked, and I said, well, I've taken up the pipe, but I don't smoke that often. She didn't seem to think that was a problem because you don't inhale. I'm short. Hang on a minute. That's something else I found out at the doctor's office. I'm not as tall as I thought I was. Or at least I'm not as tall now as I was when I was younger. They say your spine compresses as you get older due to gravity. And I've always been short, but now I'm getting shorter. And my son, I didn't realize he was as tall as he is. But I've had to start looking up to him. I wonder if I should smoke a few bowls of this and just kind of get used to what that taste is and see if I can taste it in something else. I don't know how you develop a palate. Anyway, she told me I seemed to be healthy enough for a 78-year-old. There were meds I could add to my regimen if I wanted to, and I said I didn't want to because I feel like I'm taking enough meds as it is. Then came up the question of inoculations, and I said no thank you. I said I quit taking the flu shot many years ago, and I haven't had any of the COVID shots, and I don't think I want any more injections. The only one I'd be concerned about is tetanus, but I figured I'll just wait until I step on a nail for that. I know you're supposed to get that every 10 years, and it's been over 10 years since I got one. I think the last injection I got was the pneumonia injection. Oh my goodness. That's either a bug or a piece of tobacco in my cup of water. At any rate, I went over to the store afterwards and bought a frozen pizza and a bunch of desserts. And I am one stuffed billy goat right now. I found the recipe for the Lady Baltimore cake that my mother used to cook. And one day, this next couple of weeks, I'm going to try and follow that recipe and bake one. My birthday's coming up. I want to see if I can make a cake that has just a touch of the flavor that my mother put into them. When my mother would cook something, she'd ask her sister, "What do you think?" And her sister would say, "It's good, but..." That's kind of how I feel about everything that I have tried to cook that comes from her recipes. They're good, but there's something missing. Hmm. That's pretty much all I want to say, I think. I was going to try starting another channel because I watch so many booktube channels. I thought I would try and make a booktube channel. And I've been trying to find a book to start off with. One I thought I would start off with, the title is The Horse is Dead. It's one I found when I was in Iceland. Excuse me. And I bought that and laughed so hard when I read it. I bought it because on the back, Jack Benny had said in his blurb, "This is the funniest book I've ever read." And seeing that, I think people need humor these days because it seems to be a lost art in so many cases. Don't understand the newer generation that has no sense of humor at all. This particular book, The Horse is Dead, I gave it to my uncle, who was a very straight-laced individual, very conscious of his image. And he gave it back to me and said, "I can't read this." I said, "Why not?" He said, "I was reading it and I just burst out laughing. He said, I never do that. I just can't read it. He was embarrassed because it made him laugh. I thought that was rather odd in my sense of humor. So he gave it back. When when I was in Iceland and where I found it, I gave it to my wife, who was an avid reader. And I said, try this, you'll laugh and laugh. And the next day she handed it back to me. She said, I can't read this. I said, why not? She says, I just felt sorry for him. I said, it's not a book that you're supposed to feel sorry for somebody. It's a book that's written to be humorous, and it's just funny. Change your whole opinion and just read it for that. And she did. And she laughed all the way through it. Well, I bought 10 copies of that thing when I was in Iceland. And I wish I had them all, because you can't find it today. I talked about it so much to my son that he found me a copy. And he said, you won't believe how much I paid for it. So I went online and looked for it to see what the going price was. It was unbelievable. This book that I bought back in Iceland in 70, which I bought for, it must have been 75 cents. You can't find it for under $100 now. So, like I said, I wish I'd kept those 10 books I bought back then. But the problem I see with it, it was written by a Jewish fella, and he's making fun of a Jewish fellow all the way through it. And if you can see it's written to be humorous, and he meant it to be funny, and he's in the know about the Jewish sense of humor, anybody reading it, knowing that, should be able to laugh through it. I don't know if any of you saw the movie Weekend at Bernie's. Where these two guys were toting around Bernie for the weekend because they wanted to stay at his place, and he had died when they got there. So they were trying to make people believe he was still alive. If you haven't seen that movie, you should watch it. It's just dark, dark humor, but it is hilarious. And the guy who wrote The Horse is Dead wrote the book that the movie came from. Amazon had The Horse is Dead in ebook form, but I'm thinking that these younger generation folk were appalled at the humor and told them it should not be sold, and I think they took it off the market because of that. I don't know. People just have lost their sense of humor. And if you don't have a sense of humor, then there's something sadly, sadly missing in your life. If you can't laugh at the foibles of the human race, no matter what race, there's no way you're going to get through life without anxiety. You're going to make yourself sick. You have to laugh. As they said, laughter is the best medicine. But this newest generation, they are so sensitive that humor has lost its meaning to them. And they complain instead of laugh. They're offended instead of enjoying the humor. It's sad, very sad. I don't know. So I decided I won't do that particular book for two reasons. The BookTube audience, I don't know that their sense of humor would react in the way that I have reacted. And the other fact is, you can't find that book anymore unless you want to spend caboodles of money for it. Well, for some reason I can't keep my pipe lit. Maybe I'm talking too much. So I'll have to go through my bookcases, my many bookcases, and find another book to start with. You know, I'll have to find a different background. And I don't know if I'm going to wear a hat. So it's going to be a whole new experience. I haven't decided if I'm going to smoke a pipe while I'm doing it. Probably not. Since it's an attempt at a totally different atmosphere. Not that smoking a pipe and reading a book don't go together, because I'm sure they do. Especially if you have a room dedicated to books and pipe smoking, that would work fine. But you know, I haven't tried reading a book with a pipe going. Maybe I should do that. Sit down and I think that's what I'll do next time it gets warm. I'll just go outside, light my pipe, and read a book, smoke a pipe. I've always said books are friends. So I'd be smoking a pipe with a friend. Well, I just wanted to come on. I don't know. I'm just yammering. I was looking for a specific cigar in the cigar store. And a fella in the cigar store, I stopped and asked him about the pipes. And he said, you can look in this room. So I went in the room and I came out. When I came out, I said, you can't find it, huh? And I said, no, I couldn't find it. He said, well, we could order it for you. I said, no, it's okay. And then he said, I don't smoke cigars anymore. He said, I've started smoking a pipe. He said, I used to smoke cigarettes a long time ago. I found that if you smoke a cigar, it's not relaxing to me because I find myself inhaling when I don't mean to inhale, because I was trying to get that out of my system. He said, so I started smoking a pipe. But you know, nobody around me smokes a pipe. So they laugh when I bring out my pipe and smoke it. And I said, well, and I told him about YouTube and the YouTube pipers. And he said that he smoked the Captain Black blends, and some of the other blends that they had there, he had tried them, but he just didn't like them at all. And I said, well, the ones I really like are Carter Hall and Velvet and Sir Walter Raleigh. And he said, well, I've never heard of those. And I said, well, you ought to give them a try. When your tobacco salesman comes by, you ought to ask him, see if he can let you try those. And he said, okay. Well, I had a fresh pouch that I had bought of Velvet that hadn't been opened. And I had to make a trip out, so I went by the store again and took him the package of Velvet, and I said, here, try this and see what you think of it. And he said he would, so I'll go back there again sometime, maybe this week or next, and see what he thought of it. And instead of just telling him there are YouTube pipers, give him a couple of names of the pipe tubers so he can look at them. That's my news for today. I'm healthy. I'm shorter. And I'm trying different things. I signed up for a trumpet course for the last time to attempt to learn enough on a trumpet to play a tune or two, because I always wanted to play the trumpet, and I've tried several times to do it, and something just happens that I get out of it, and then I just can't seem to do it. So this time I signed up. It was for a year, and I'm going to give it an attempt this time. I'm 78. If I don't do it this time, I'll never do it. So I'll be spending time. I don't know whether I'm going to use the cornet that I have, because it's a little more comfortable in the hand, or if there's a brand of trumpet that I bought because it was a beautiful trumpet. It's called a Pudgy. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it or not. Special made. Cost a mint. But I had some mad money at the time, and I bought the darn thing. And I'm going to try and learn. So that's me. New year, new me, shorter me, but healthy according to my doctor. So anyway, enough of my jabber. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope your week is going to be a good one. God bless you all. Until the next time. Bye-bye.